Welcome to Natural Habitat Adventures Daily Dose of Nature. Today's topic, Rainforest to Rockies, Vancouver to Banff. Presented by NatHab Expedition Leader Katrina Rosen. I'm your host, Rob Mess. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Katrina, take it away.
Thank you so much, Rob, for everyone else for being here to learn more about this fantastic new program that we have for natural habitat. Putting together this webinar and organizing this season has brought me a lot of joy and so much excitement. So hello to everyone. I look forward to this next hour together and also to meeting many of you as the season goes on. This photo here that you've been looking at on the website as well, it's a famous curve in the railway, and we'll actually be staying in the top right of this photo when we stay in Lake Louise. And this is where I live. My family and I are very fortunate enough to call the Canadian Rockies home. But I was 6 years old when I remember first taking the train across Canada. And with that, there's prairies, the mountains, the coast, and I fell in love with this land and with nature. And I wanted to be a guide since I was very young. So my name is Katrina Rosen, and I first began my career as a paddling guide. I spent a lot of time in a canoe and kayak. And then I took my hiking guiding with the Association of Canadian Mountain Guides. As the years went on and things evolved, I wanted an even deeper connection with what I do. And I began working with Natural Habitat Adventures 5 years ago. And it's been such a gift. I'm absolutely honored to be an expedition leader in many locations for them. I've been working up in Churchill, Manitoba on the polar bear trips, where we either stay in the town of Churchill or we can also stay in a lodge right on the tundra, right beside Hudson's Bay. It's an incredibly remote setting on the Arctic Ocean, and polar bears just come on by. During the winter, the northern lights are unbelievable, and I'm really loving our aurora trips. In the summer as well, this year, because of our new program here in the Canadian Rockies, I'll only be doing one summer trip this year up in Churchill. But it is fantastic because we get up to the Churchill River estuary where there are thousands of belugas. It's a seasonal home to these great white whales, and we get out to be with them. So I lead all three of these seasons in Churchill, but I'm also in Iceland for a month every year, circling this crazy country with volcanoes, waterfalls, wildlife, and also more whales. I've been guiding the Canadian Rockies trips for Natural Habitat over the past number of years, but this year we have this big change, and I'm thrilled to present the Know Before You Go of our brand new Rainforest to Rockies trip. So let's get into it. So this trip begins in the city of Vancouver. Vancouver is stunning, and I don't say that lightly. I know many of you do not know me yet, but I am not a natural city person. But I'm really loving my time in Vancouver. It's widely recognized as one of the most beautiful cities in the world. And you can actually see in a little bit of this photo if you look along the water. But there's so much seawall paths, they call them, to explore that you can walk or cycle on. And then in the background of the photo, you'll see the North Shore Mountains there, and they just dominate the skyline. There's still remnants of old growth forests, and there's a lot of flowers everywhere. So many people will be flying in for this trip, and you'll be arriving at Vancouver International Airport, and it's a really nice airport to navigate. If you are arriving on the first day of the program, or even arriving earlier but staying at the same group hotel, then a transfer will be provided for you. So for international arrivals, just look for your driver upon exiting customs and entering the arrivals hall. And for domestic arrivals, now this includes non-Canadian citizens if you've connected even through another Canadian city en route to Vancouver. But you'll be looking for your driver at the baggage carousel for your flight. And our natural habitat representative will be there holding a NatHab sign and ready to welcome you to Vancouver, Canada. We're staying at the Georgian Court Hotel. This hotel has its own gym, it has a jacuzzi, it has an infrared sauna. The staff are lovely. Please just let them know what you may need or any questions that you have. I did put a little map here on this presentation because I just want you to see how this area is really surrounded by water. So our purple dot there is our hotel, and just to the south is an inlet called False Creek. And to the north is downtown Vancouver. And then you'll see that huge green expanse, and that's Stanley Park. And our hotel is situated in a great location to explore, downtown or make your way to that seawall walking path. There's many restaurants nearby. There's lots to see. If you haven't been to Vancouver yet, then I highly recommend arriving early and take an extra day or two to explore. If that's already too late because you're starting our trip in 2 weeks from now, no worries. The city will still be there for you at another time to enjoy. But you can see this even if you're arriving just before we start. This is a 17-story geodesic dome, which was the signature building for Expo in 1986. This also celebrated Vancouver's 100th birthday. It's now the science world, and yes, adults absolutely can also enjoy it. It's not just for kids. And to the left of this is BC Place. It was also built for Expo, but our hotel is just beside BC Place. So it is worth checking out what might be on at BC Place, like whether there's a concert going on, or if you like soccer, then this is home to the Vancouver Whitecaps. Just a few more pictures of the city here. This one of the bridge is Capilano Bridge. This is a popular spot to get out into the rainforest. And this is another one of the walking path, which is 22 kilometers long. Our hotel has bikes available to use. So if you do have that ability to cycle, you can cycle the seawall or make your way to Stanley Park. This park is large. It's bigger than Central Park in New York City, and it's a really peaceful way to spend a number of hours within. There's the Vancouver Aquarium is also there, which is home to thousands of marine species. It also serves as a marine research and rescue center. You can walk, take a horse-drawn carriage, bring a picnic. There's lots to do. While While you are in Stanley Park and the metropolitan area, you'll be on the ancestral and traditional territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. And for thousands of years, these nations have cared for and lived in connection with the lands and the waters that make up what is now known as Stanley Park and Vancouver. And I invite you to take some time to honor their enduring presence, their stewardship and cultural traditions, which continue to this day. These heritage poles in these pictures here, they're located in Stanley Park, and they're a part of a collection that began over 100 years ago, and they were acquired from various Indigenous communities across the province of British Columbia and also continuing up the coast. When you arrive in Vancouver, you're in prime whale watching season. So if you do arrive a day or two early, you can arrange this on your own. You may see orcas, humpbacks, sea lions, harbor seals. There are several reputable companies that offer time out on the water. They're also led by knowledgeable naturalists, and like natural habitat adventures, they're focused on conservation. It's a great opportunity to learn about the Pacific Coast wildlife. Now, any of these extras in Vancouver, these are just ideas for you if you arrive in Vancouver early. Because on the very first evening of the trip date, we will all meet as a group for our welcome dinner. This will be led by your expedition leaders, and they'll go over the outline of the trip and introduce the week. And then it is off to sleep before we leave to the train station the next morning. We will be picked up early to depart to the private train station of Rocky Mountaineer. So I put a little list here, but this is also, we'll go over this at welcome dinner with your expedition leaders, and as well, you have a great packing list provided to you by Natural Habitat. But I just wanted to let you know what it's like on the train, because all you would really need with you this day is just a small day pack with some clothing layers, your medication, identification, money, camera. Your main luggage is going to be transferred to the hotel that we're next staying at, which is in Kamloops. You might like a book, although there is reading material provided on the train, and time on the train slips by quickly, you know. So you just want to kind of bring anything you think you may need. That's totally okay. Oh, I might have to skip the next slide here. Once we arrive at this train station, we're going to have lots of time to take photos, and we can get coffee, we can have tea. It's really fun to arrive on the location of the train station. But I hope you're ready for something truly unforgettable, because the journey we're about to embark on with the Rocky Mountaineer is, it's not just a train ride. This is, you know, a front row seat to some of the most jaw-dropping landscapes on Earth. And it's paired with luxury service that just makes every moment feel like as if it belongs in a dream. We're traveling gold leaf, the top tier. That means panoramic dome glass windows stretching overhead. So you'll never miss a single mountain peak or glacier carved valley or bald eagle soaring above. Our train car will have its own private deck. So although with Natural Habitat, we are only 20 guests, we may have other people in our train car as well, but we still have this deck that we can all use for those that are in our train, which is great because we can get outside, you know, we can feel the breeze, we can search for the animals. This is where your layers will come in handy, depending on the weather that is happening that day. We'll be eating on the train, and this includes for the very first morning, we'll have breakfast on the train. We'll also be served lunch and snacks. And when it's time, we will actually shift downstairs from that open view that you've seen. We'll go downstairs to the beautiful dining room. The train can accommodate minimal physical ability, and there's assistance to come on board. And there's even an elevator to bring you to the dining room if you need, which I think is fantastic. But you do need to bring your appetite. You are in for a treat. These are gourmet meals inspired by the landscape that we're moving through. Seriously. Saying that, please let your adventure specialist know your dietary. What do you need to be happy? Because the more Natural Habitat knows ahead of time, the easier it is for us to cater to exactly what you need. So don't be shy. Is that 5 Diet Cokes a day? Is that gluten-free beer? Tell us anything that you would like before you arrive in Vancouver so we can make it happen, because we are traveling in remote places. So I promise you, like all Natural Habitat trips, you will not go hungry. And I mentioned that meals are inspired by the landscape, and the menu that you'll be able to choose from once you are on the train is locally sourced. So what that means is that from coastal British Columbia, there's perhaps wild Pacific salmon, halibut, prawns, fresh herbs and vegetables from Fraser Valley farms. From the Okanagan Valley, we'll have wines, orchid fruits like cherries, peaches. We'll have locally sourced goat cheeses, artisan breads. From Alberta, the foothills in the Rockies, there's grass-fed beef or bison, root vegetables, hearty, comforting dishes. It's really, really great. Going to be great. And after all that wonderful food, you may want to relax, you know, just enjoy things. The temperature in the train is controlled, which is really great, but you might run a little cold. Like I run quite cold. So you might want a little more heat. Then you actually have a heated seat that you can turn on. You can adjust the lumbar support in the back and make it really comfortable for exactly what your body needs. You can adjust the leg rest. This is maximum comfort. And I should also mention that the bathrooms are really roomy as well. You see this host here on the train. Our train car will have hosts on it with microphones, and they're just going to help bring the scenery to life. They're going to tell us stories of the area, tell us the history of the train as we travel, and really kind of keep us engaged and entertained. So, what can you expect as we make our way from coastal Vancouver to majestic Lake Louise? We're going to begin in the lush, temperate rainforests of the Pacific coast. And this region is rich and green, fed by the moisture from the Pacific Ocean. There's, towering Douglas firs, western red cedars, hemlocks line the route. If we're lucky, we'll spot some bald eagles or golden eagles circling above, or we'll be hopefully spot some black bears foraging near the tracks. I just wanted to touch on a little bit of the history of this train. This is quite a luxury train service, and it began in 1990 by a Canadian entrepreneur named Peter Armstrong. Peter had taken a train ride himself, like I did when I was 6 years old, through this route in the 1980s, and it was easy to recognize the potential of a train service that only ran during the day. And Armstrong seized the opportunity when our federal government decided to privatize the route. And he assembled a team of investors and he successfully bid for the route. And that led to the establishment of Rocky Mountaineer. This is still a family run business. In 2024, Peter's son Tristan Armstrong was appointed CEO of Rocky Mountaineer. As we head inland and gain elevation, you're going to notice the landscape begin to shift. And this is what I absolutely love. The land, the mountains, the rivers are forever in motion, changing all of the time. Yet many people sit their entire lives in front of it and never see them move. This Rainforest to Rockies trip, we are putting ourselves in the right place to see the land move. The area will get drier, the vegetation changes. We'll pass through the semi-arid interior around Kamloops, and you'll start to see sagebrush and grasslands, and maybe we'll see some bighorn sheep kind of balancing effortlessly on these rocky outcrops. We'll travel through Fraser Canyon and beside and over Fraser River. After our first day on the train, we will disembark in Kamloops to spend the night at a hotel where our luggage has magically arrived and is already in our rooms by the time we get there. And the next morning, we'll be on board again, back on the train, ready for breakfast and another amazing day. So this is a look at our map. Is by this point of the trip, we've had one night in Vancouver together. We've had our second night in Kamloops together, and now we're making our way across British Columbia into the province of Alberta and the village of Lake Louise. And from Kamloops, the land changes again. We first enter the Shuswap region, where we see a mosaic of rolling hills, lake shores, wetlands, and forested mountains. This is Shuswap Lake, stunning. And as we approach the area near Golden, BC, the route enters into the Rocky Mountain Trench. And this is a significant geological feature that separates the Columbia Mountain Range from the west and the Rocky Mountains to the east. The views are breathtaking. And Columbia River is going to be visible alongside the tracks as well. You'll have to keep your eyes peeled. This region is home to elk, deer, coyotes. If we're lucky, we might glimpse a moose or even a grizzly or black bear from the train. Our onboard hosts help point them out. So don't worry, because news travels very quickly from the front of the train to the back of the train, because we always want to spot some animals. Our journey continues through notable landmarks such as the Spiral Tunnels and Kicking Horse Pass. Rocky Mountaineer is the only passenger train that travels through historic spiral tunnels in Yoho National Park. These were completed in 1909, and it's essentially like this huge figure eight and an engineering marvel, whether the train loops back on itself. When it was completed in 1909, finally decreased the grade of the track from a dangerous 4.5% to 2.2%, and made the train a lot safer, which is great as we're on it. And we're going to make our way over the Continental Divide and into the Vaud Valley. Traveling by train across Canada is just to witness both this grandeur of the landscape, but also all the layers, stories of the people here that have called this place home for millennia as well. Every bend in the track reveals something new, something wild. And then we'll arrive in the village of Lake Louise. This is the historic train station here in this picture at Lake Louise. We'll be staying at a hotel called Lake Louise Inn. We're only here for one night. This is a simple hotel. We have now entered into Banff National Park, and there are certain rules that come with that within a hotel. But it has everything we need, especially for our night to stay there. But I do want to be clear because this hotel, although it is called Lake Louise Inn, it is not on the lake shore of Lake Louise. And from our hotel, from the village of the Lake Louise to the lake itself, although it's only about a 10-minute drive, it does take about an hour to walk, and we may not have time for that. So very early the next morning, what we have done with as Natural Habitat is we've arranged transportation that will pick us up at the Lake Louise Inn, and then we will go to the lake of Lake Louise itself at sunrise. So this will be an early morning with stunning views, absolutely. And here, I'll just switch to this picture so you can see what Lake Louise here looks like a little bit. It's a beautiful place. This is one of Canada's iconic pictures here for sure. We will have time for some photography, have time for people for a little bit of a walk to see this place. And then we will make our way back to our hotel, the Lake Louise Inn, and then make sure we're ready for our morning transfer to make our way to the Bugaboos. It is about a 2-hour bus ride to get to the staging area where we will meet with our helicopter. I cannot wait for you all to experience this. I put a picture here up of Hans Moser because this, in the early 1960s, was a young man from Switzerland, and Hans Moser fell in love with these mountains and this area that we're going to called the Bugaboos. And Hans and a few of his friends would go and ski tour in this place. It's remote, beautiful terrain. If only they had a helicopter. This idea was revolutionary, and Hans Moser officially founded Canadian Mountain Holidays. It's now affectionately known as CMH as well. It's the first heli skiing operation in the world. Now, Hans believes that every human should have a pair of wings to be able to experience the grandeur of the mountains. He was so passionate about wild places. And it wasn't long until they realized that, just like Peter Armstrong's vision of seeing the valleys, the mountains from the train of daylight, the idea of being able to be in these alpine meadows and move along expansive ridges in the summertime would also be incredible. And heli-hiking was born. And it is absolutely amazing to be up there. This is a remote lodge, but it is really comfortable. There are stunning rooms with stunning views, no matter what direction you are facing. One direction does face some kind of the granite spires and the glacier, and the other goes onto the helipad and beautiful forest there. We'll just kind of see where we all end up in the hotel, but either way, they're always fantastic and they're always comfortable. And we spend very little time in them, because there's lots to do even within the lodge itself. There's a small, fascinating museum and library inside put together by my friend Paul, naturalist extraordinaire, to showcase the history of the area, the history of heli skiing and heli hiking. There is an exercise room, which granted probably does not get too much use. But there's also a multi-story rock climbing wall you can try. There's a bar, a beautiful lounge to just listen to tales from other travelers. Just like on the train, we will not be the only guests at the lodge, as the lodge will hold between 40 and 50 guests. But I'm sure, are also going to be incredible people and really fun to meet. And there's also many staff who will be staying there, and they're ready to help you out with anything that you need. This is the lawn in front of our lodge with the Bugaboo Glacier in the background there. This is the end of the valley, and it was named Bugaboo by early prospectors. Bugaboo is a colloquial 19th century word of Scottish origin and means something that causes like worry or disappointment, essentially a false hope. Again, it was named by prospectors and they wanted gold, and there was only false gold. Yet, for what for them became a frustration and this disillusionment, is our gold mine. This name stuck, and now it's a word, that when I hear it, bugaboos, it just holds promise of beauty and hope of amazing adventure. Oh yes, and it has the best hot tub in the world. So don't forget your bathing suit. There's also a sauna and a massage therapist ready for your booking. So when I was putting together this webinar for us, I was going through some photos, and this photo here of me kind of sitting in this alpine was taken 15 years ago in 2010 when I first started working up at CMH as a heli-hiking guide. And I had an incredible number of years with CMH as a heli-hiking guide myself. So I find it now so special to be able to be up there as an expedition leader with natural habitat, and just kind of bringing these two together is unbelievable for me, and just such a joy. Each day that we're up there, we're going to be there for 3 nights. So we have 2 full days out in the mountains, and we have one half a day as well. But each time we're out, we're going to split into different groups to head out hiking. But upon our arrival at the lodge, that very first moment, one of the guides is going to ask you about your wishes and about your abilities. Do you want to be mellow? Do you want to learn about every single flower? Do you want to take a ton of pictures and really like immerse yourself in the views? Or do you want to be active? Do you want to cover many kilometers along one ridge, go along a ridge, go down a valley, and then up another valley to another ridge or peak? I mean, the options are yours. And I just want to say there's no need to decide ahead of time, because upon our arrival to the lodge, the guides will check in with you about your wishes and your physical abilities of that day and put you in a group that they feel is going to be appropriate for you. And like I said, we head out right away that first after noon. You will have time to go into your rooms to get ready before we head out that first day. So but I love that we get to go out, and I consider this like a shakedown day, then right? Whoa, that was a bit too relaxed. I want to move faster. Or, hey, that pushed me and I want to stop way more and I want to be more slow. Or most often, what happens is, wow, that was perfect. How did they know? And they knew because you gave them good information when they asked you certain questions. So, be as honest as possible with your guides. And after that first day, let your CMH guide know your wishes. They also want you to have the best trip ever. And of course, your two natural habitat expedition leaders will be there as well to be able to talk things over with. The main thing is don't stress about it if you feel that you are not in the best shape at the moment, or if you've had a recent injury, because this trip can be tailored to you and what your body can do that day. It's also okay to do something different from your loved one. If you are traveling with family or your friends or your husband or wife, it is totally okay, acceptable, and normal to do something different while you're out hiking. So if your partner is much more energetic, for example, you could one day encourage them to head out with a different group, Or you can decide to always stay together. The decision is yours, of course. This is your holiday. Hans Moser believed deeply in the value of wild spaces, and he was instrumental in protecting this area. The lodge that we go to at the Bugaboos, it actually is neighbor to Bugaboo Provincial Park, an area protected for the future. And Hans emphasized low impact recreation, even with the use of a helicopter. This was long before environmental standards were widely regulated in adventure tourism. And now, with such a large tenure, where we travel, the flight paths, how we move in an area, it all has decisions behind it. And they're carefully chosen to minimize disruption to what we now know is a fragile ecosystem. So the tenure size for CMH Bugaboos is over 600 square miles. It's about 1,600 square kilometers. And this area offers a diverse range of terrain, like I said, and lots to explore. And this began in the 1960s. So it's a place that the guides know a lot about and how it's changed over the years. And everything is monitored and documented. If there is a bear, or the mountain goats here, or why aren't the mountain goats here? There's has been spots where over a year a small trail has developed, but mostly you'll see, like this photo here, we're actually spreading out over the terrain. So only one footstep, might trample a flower, for example. So we try to not produce more trails, and all this human impact is monitored and mitigated. Glacier resection is also being documented, which has been wild even in my time in the Bugaboos, the changes that we're seeing. But each morning, all of us guys, including the expedition leaders at the lodge, we get together and we discuss the plans for the day for each group out there. There are many options, but whatever is chosen is great. Flowers galore. Just anytime you go into the Bugaboos, something seems to be in bloom. Moss campion, heather and heath, columbine, anemones. As we move through the terrain, there may be small pockets of different ecosystems. You might see mountain avens poking up through a pile of snow that is in the shade, whereas further away in a sunny area, they already may be in bloom or even in seed. I just needed an entire slide for this photo. It's not even like a great photo, but it's one of my favorites. This is spotted saxifrage, and just an idea for scale. See if you can notice the black fly in the picture here. This is a very, very tiny flower, and I love it because it could be a wild, windy, cloudy day, and yet you can kind of tuck in and get up really close to one of these beauties, and the day just feels as if it's full of sunshine. On our two longer days out walking, we pack a lunch, and there's many different yummy options because we'll be out there for the day. Now, an amazing mentor said to me once, there are two ways you can think of the bathroom situation while we're out there. One is you could be sad that there are not enough or any smelly outhouses, and the other is that everywhere is available to you. Yeah, I spent a lot of time in the wilderness, so this, of course, is very natural to me. I also drink way too much coffee and a ton of water, so I hardly ever go an hour without needing to pee. But if you have not done this type of nature break before, perhaps it feels weird, but it is much easier then you think to go pee in a loo with a view. And totally normal. Your guide will point out great spots for you to hide behind. There are always places with crumbled trees that you can tuck in behind, or a big boulder to tuck in behind. I'm just letting you know this because I just don't want you to worry about it, about your upcoming trip, because it's way easier than you think if you haven't done this before. Plus, what a shame life would be if you only limited yourself to where an outhouse was. The things to bring while we're out hiking is layers. Layers are great. I always wear long pants, but again, I run cold. So some people do like to be in shorts, but it is very recommended that you always have pants with you in your backpack. You know, a t-shirt, long sleeve option, have a fleece or a puffy, even if the weather is looking blue sky perfect. You must have waterproof jacket and waterproof pants. And and of course, any medication that you might need for that day. But you can borrow a lot from the lodge. You can borrow hiking boots. You borrow a waterproof jacket, waterproof pants. You can borrow a backpack, hiking poles. If you come to the lodge with only a pair of running shoes, they will most likely give you a pair of hiking boots. So by running shoes, I mean even like a trail shoe that is below your ankle. They're going to want something that is above your ankle, that's a little bit sturdy. We are walking on wild terrain. There are not manufactured sidewalks out there, right? So you want something that's going to be really sturdy, but also comfortable for you. I find the boots that we borrow very comfortable. But if you have sensitive feet, then bringing your own pair of sturdy boots is great. If you have your own waterproof rain gear, then that is good too. But if you don't already have it, then it can be provided by CMH. You will need to carry a small backpack with you as we're out there because it needs to carry these layers as well as your lunch and as well as the water that you'll need for the day. Group sizes are typically between 5 people and 10 people in a group when we're out hiking. This may depend on how many guests overall choose a certain terrain ability. Also, the weight in the helicopter, terrain choices. Again, lots go into making these decisions. Sometimes there's like, we'll have a list each day where you'll find your name on it before you go out. And once you get to know people, you might notice, oh, there's two CMH guides on that, and there's 9 guests, you know, and they're actually grouped together to go out in the helicopter. But the intention probably is that a natural split is going to happen. So 4 guests may be moving faster and much further, 5 guests may be moving a little bit slower, and they have a different pickups at the end of their time out walking. There's usually an option as well as generally after lunch to fly back to the lodge early. So if you would like more time at the lodge, maybe you booked a massage, maybe you want more time in the hot tub, or just a shorter hiking day, then that is something that can happen. And again, no need to decide ahead of time. It can be decided that day, day of. This is called a heli huddle here. So you'll notice with the helicopter in the middle here that you have guests huddled together on one side of it, and then you'll have the guide on the other. And they're actually loading the basket there on the side of the helicopter that was designed for CMH, and you can put the backpacks in there so that they are safe. So when we load in and out of the helicopter, we'll actually kind of tuck in close together, and this way the helicopter can fly in and land, and with its rotor still running, we'll be able to get into the helicopter as well as get off the helicopter safely with the rotors still running. So quite often for that, people will take one knee because that's a very sturdy position to be in. But some people do have hard time getting down on one knee, and that's when we just kind of bend over and tuck in. We all hold on to each other and keep each other safe so we can get in and out of the helicopter. But this is one way where they can have less time with the helicopter moving as well and just make it very efficient as we're kind of moving around the field and out there. Okay, this is another photo that I found when I was making this webinar. So one of these pictures is from 2010, and the other one was taken just recently with a natural habitat guest. And look, I haven't changed at all. I even wear the same color scheme. But this was a great guest with natural habitat there, and you'll notice we're each holding onto our hats. We're wearing sunglasses to protect our eyes, but you might also notice her earplug there. The helicopter is noisy, and some people can be a little bit more sensitive to it. So just a reminder to pack yourself your own earplugs. They used to be given out, but they're no longer given out by the handful. And this is for conservation reasons, and which I absolutely agree with. So just bring a pair that you like, that you have a way of keeping them in a container or something, so you know where they are every time to get out there. And you might like that in the helicopter, just kind of dull a little bit of the noise while we're out flying around. If you are a photographer and want to bring your camera with you, then that is all good. For years, I used only my cell phone, but now when I am out, especially with Mello, I like to have my larger camera with me. This photo here of the spars is just taken outside the lodge at the back of a small swimming pond. And you don't even need a guide to do this, although I'm pretty sure, knowing who the team is of expedition leaders this year, we're going to want to be out there as well. But you do have to wake up ridiculously early to catch this morning glow. But it is very beautiful if you manage to get it. Heli-hiking allows us to land in pristine wildflower filled meadows near glaciers or on ridge lines. It's in the Bugaboos, you can customize your own adventure, and it's this place that's so far away from noise and screens. And at the end of this, it's just going to be one of the best days of your life. And you're going to fly back to the lodge for a hot shower, for wine, for an inspiring meal made by Canada's top chefs. And it's saying a lot about the beauty of the place that I haven't filled this slideshow with pictures of food. But the food, again, at the Bugaboos is, made by these amazing chefs. They're served family style and with instant new friends. And it's another highlight and bonus to an amazing time. Too soon, we'll be saying goodbye to the Bugaboos, and we'll fly with the helicopter back down to the valley to what we call the staging area. And we'll get onto another bus because our trip is not over, and we'll have a 2-hour bus ride to the town of Banff. By this time of the trip, you'll know the history of the Canadian Railway line. You'll understand a lot more of what it was like before that, how the railway kind of line came to be, and how things, were changed. And you'll understand how in 1881, our Prime Minister wanted to build this track to connect British Columbia to the rest of Canada. And, Banff was not yet a town. Of course, human presence had been in the area for thousands of years following buffalo along the Bow River. But in the early 1880s, the railway workers were here in what we now call Banff. It was just called Siding 29. One day, there's maybe perhaps too much snow accumulating, they couldn't work. Three railway workers went again in search for gold. So they built a raft, they crossed the Bow River and began up the slopes of what we now call Sulphur Mountain. They probably smelled that sulfurous smell, and they found the source in essentially a vertical cave. And so to be able to access it, they chopped down a tree and then they climbed down into the springs, and being the very first Westerners at that time to use these hot springs. So they stuck a claim on the land, and they charged all the other railway workers to use the hot springs. I mean, imagine the luxury. I mean, put yourself back to 1880s and what it would have taken to have a bath at that time. So it was pretty genius for them. But unfortunately, there was another on the scene as well, and his name is Cornelius Van Horn. He was the manager of the railway, and he went to our first prime minister, and he convinced him to buy the springs back from these railway workers, I think for $700 Canadian, and protect this area as an investment for the railway. And in doing so, it became Canada's very first national park. It was only the third in the world at that time. And then things really started to change. These pictures here are of Banff Avenue, the main road in Banff, with beautiful Cascade Mountain in the background. And again, this is my home. This is my backyard here. And I love it when people stand in the middle of this road and take pictures of the mountain. I think it's so fun to see that. I'm not actually joking. And I always told myself, okay, whenever I get sick of that, then perhaps it's time to move. But right now, I just find it's so lovely and just still so much fun. We'll be staying at the Fox Hotel and Suites, and inside, they have this recreation hot pools that has been inspired by those original hot springs that the railroad workers found and the cave-in basin. So again, your need for your bathing suit. This hotel is in a great location to walk down the main Banff Avenue, and we'll have the afternoon to introduce you to the town of Banff. And you can shop. There's many lovely boutique shops. You can see the gardens. You can walk along the river. You can rent a canoe or kayak or go for a little paddle if you like. The options are honestly too many, and our time here is too little. Your expedition leaders will help you tailor your free time so you can enjoy what you would like to do while we're in Banff for a few hours. In the evening, we will have our final dinner and share, our favorite moments and say goodbye to all the guests and your expedition leaders. Again, you may want to stay an extra day if you have the time in Banff National Park. On our departure morning, we will have shuttles arranged to bring you the hour and 45-minute ride to Calgary International Airport. Again, it's a very easy airport to navigate, and then you'll have the time to relax, process all that you saw, felt, and experienced on this trip. Thank you so much for attending and for being here. It means a lot. I'm so excited for this program, and I know the other expedition leaders are really excited as well. And we look forward to meeting you. I hope I've answered many of your questions already, but I'd love to take some time to answer some more questions. So back to you, Rob.
All right. Thank you so much, Katrina. Now, before we dive into the question and answer session, I would like to remind everyone that if you do have questions, you can submit them via the question field in your control panel. Just go to the upper right-hand corner, click on those three lines you see there. We call that the hamburger. Click on that hamburger and scroll down to where you see questions, and that's where you can submit them. All right, let's grab some questions right now. So, can you talk about when we run this trip? What are the dates or the time of year we do this trip?
Oh, great question. The dates are live on the Natural Habitat website now. I think we've done a brilliant job this year of selling out, actually. Perhaps there's still a spot that will open up this year already. But we have trips. The first one starts with guests on June 29th, and we are rolling up until close to the end of August this year for trips out there. And then next year we have more trips running as well. So they're already able to sign up for another trip next year.
Great, thank you. And when is prime time to watch whales?
Good question. It's I did check on that, and it seemed like it was that whale watching season is the same time that we're running these trips. So you can check on your date on what looks good for you for the natural habitat trip, and then look into the the other companies for the whale watching and kind of see which whales will be there at the time.
Gotcha, thank you. So, does the train make stops between the hotels, or are we just stopping at hotels?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So we are covering a bit of a distance each day. So from Vancouver to Kamloops, we are traveling, it's about 460 kilometers, so right around 300 miles. The lovely thing about this train is that it's not high speed. So our speeds are less on it. So we're traveling about between like 30 and 50 kilometers an hour, or like top speed, like 30 miles an hour, let's say. The train will slow down for wildlife so we can get a good picture. Also, it'll like even pause sometimes, like at canyons or by the rivers where there's like some really scenic sites. So it doesn't stop for us to ever get off of the train, but the train itself is very roomy. So to be able to walk around the train, talk to people, other people in the train car, as well as, like I said, go to the back deck to see the view, or go downstairs to the dining room. So lots of space within the train car, but we are on there all day. And that could be 10 hours or 12 hours or so on the train each day.
Gotcha. So, are we going to have assigned seats on the train then?
We will have assigned seats on the train, and you can mix that up if you're, coming with somebody else. Of course, you can mix that up. Again, there's lots of space and windows around. So I'm at all the seats are lovely, so you should really like your seat where it is assigned.
Gotcha. Thank you. All right, let's talk helicopters for a second. If I have trouble with air sickness, are helicopters going to be hard on me, or um, is there something I can do about that?
Yeah, okay. So that's please point yourself out. Let your expedition leaders know ahead of time, and then we'll also let the CMH guides know ahead of time. I would say in general, I haven't had too many concerns with this. Probably the longest flight that we'll be taking in the helicopter is going to be 15 or 20 minutes, and that's when we're leaving the staging area to go into the Bugaboo Lodge. Sometimes I find that if somebody is really concerned at that I will put them facing forward in the helicopter versus backwards, and that may help with motion sickness. But the helicopters themselves are built 212s. They're quite sturdy. They generally feel good. So we find that most people are okay in them, but just kind of keep an eye on it and just let yourself know and talk to your guides about it.
Great, good to know. So, what's the highest elevation that we are going to be at?
Oh, that's a good question. I think like 4,500 feet or so. That's just like off the top of my head right now. It'll again depend what trip that you are choosing. I will say in the past, I've had many people who come and like live on the coast of North America, for example. They fly into Calgary and then they're coming right into, CMH. And this is going years back. We don't tend to find that people have issues with altitude sickness, just in case that's where the question is coming from. Where we do find people have to take care of themselves is with dehydration. And because this is a very dry area, especially depending where you are coming from. So we often think chapstick is like your new best friend, and you also want to have to be drinking that water, which is why I mentioned the bathroom situation while we're out there, because we want to make sure that you're still drinking. So we find as long as people are staying hydrated and they're not dehydrating themselves, that they don't have an issue with being up at that altitude that we're going to.
Great, thank you. And what's the temperature range going to be like? Am I going to, should I dress in layers? Are we going to be going up to elevation? Am I going to get cold?
All of them. Yeah. It's just like, oh my gosh, all of them. I mean, every trip is going to be totally different. Every day is different, and every hour out there might be totally different. This is mountain weather. And, those of us that live in the mountains, we will not go out our rain pants and rain jackets. And I know it sounds silly, like I'm looking outside right now and it's beautiful blue day here. But if I were heading up a mountain, I would still bring all those layers. And you just need it, for safety, for wind, and it also just makes it so much more pleasurable and pleasing if you have the layers with you. So sometimes we're out there and it's really warm. Of course, we're going to need our sunscreen, but there's lots of that available at the lodge for you to use. Um, and it'll be really warm. And then other times it'll be, could be quite cold, or wind will come in. It's very rare that we have a full day of rain, like very, very, very rare. But we could get pockets of rain. So we might get rain for 45 minutes or something like that. But we want to make sure that we're prepared. And that's why we want to bring the layers.
Gotcha, thank you. So if I'm a fan of flowers, are we going to have time for walking and seeing some flowers, maybe taking some pictures?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, that's up to you, because it's just with you being very clear on what you'd like out there. So, and you can talk to your expedition leader about this as well. But all of us are naturalists. We love the flowers too. So, we love to point them out and talk about them. I'd say even on if you if you choose to hike motivated, for example, you'll still see like a lot of flowers. But if you want a lot of time with flowers and like really immerse yourself in them, then you would kind of choose a slightly more like moderate or mellow walking level.
Great,
But it's
thank you.
beautiful up there. Yeah.
So now you mentioned black flies. Are we going to have to worry about insects at all?
Oh, that's funny. I didn't even think about that when I put that black fly in there. No, I mean, no, I've never, I mean, there's often a breeze because we're up on the ridges and so on. Pretty rare that there's too much. Having some bug spray might be a good idea, but your expedition leaders, your guides will probably have as well. But just having those layers, so again, long sleeve and pants and hat to help out with that. But we haven't needed, and I've trying to recall if I've ever had a guest hike in like a bug net, for example, like over their head, and it's nothing like that. That bad. So I don't notice it to be a problem.
Gotcha, thank you. So could you clarify something about borrowed gear? Where does this borrowed gear come from? Are we renting it from the hotel? Um, can you talk about that for a moment?
Yeah, absolutely. As soon as we arrive to Bugaboo Lodge, after you've talked to your guide about your wishes while you're out for your day hiking, they're going to go over all that with you. You're going to be brought right into what we call the boot room, and they're going to talk about all the items that they wish for you to be on you all the time. So that's the boots, the rain pants, the rain jacket, a fleece, a water bottle, for example. They're going to go over it there right away, again, upon arrival at the lodge. And then that is your moment to borrow everything that you might need. And then you'll have your room assigned to you, and you'll have time to go to your room and drop it all off. We'll have a lovely lunch together, and then you'll still be given a little bit of time to get ready to go out into the helicopter for our first time of hiking out there.
Gotcha, thank you. Well, this looks like such an amazing trip. Can you recommend anything for us to read or look at to prepare ourselves for coming out uh, to Banff?
Oh yeah. Rob, I'm tempted to like move my computer here so they could see like my stack of 100 books. But I have a few here that I really love for this trip. So if anybody's looking for reading material, one is called Bugaboo Dreams. Perhaps this is backwards in your mirror, but it's called Bugaboo Dreams. It's written by Topher Donahue. And this gives the history of Hans Moser and kind of beginning of this heli skiing and heli hiking dynasty. But it's a really nice read. And there's another one by Chick Scott, and Chick Scott is local here in our Canadian Rockies. So great, amazing writer, and he wrote Deep Powder and Steep Rock. And again, this is on the life of Hans Moser. And this is one that I really enjoy. This is a brand new book that I'm liking. It's called Train Beyond the Mountains, and it's written by Rick Atkinson. And this is one that both these actually, the train book, this one they can buy on the train. They can even buy it at the train station when we arrive. So if they'd like to just kind of know that perhaps people would, if you'd like something once you arrive, this book should be available at the Bugaboos as well, or you can order it ahead of time, Bugaboo Dreams. Oh my gosh, there's also many, many just on train history in the Canadian West, as well as human history in the Canadian West. But yeah, I mean, it's fairly endless, isn't it? I just bought 4 new books myself yesterday on the area. So, no, I'm excited. If people are into reading, then that is fantastic.
Great to know. Thank you so much. Well, unfortunately, that is going to be the last question that we do have time for today. So I'd like to hand it back to you for any closing comments that you may have for us.
You will love this. You'll love your expedition leaders and naturalists and the local guides that you'll meet. And, from the oceanic rainforest to alpine wilderness, there's so much history, the geography, the wildlife, the people connected to the land. I'm not sure there's another route or another way to feel this transition so completely and so comfortably. I hope I've provided clarity and answered your questions. I know that you're really going to enjoy it. I just want to thank everyone for their time, for being on here. I also want to give a shout out to my parents. They live 15 hours away, and I think they are on here as well. So happy Father's Day, Dad. Love you both, and thank you for inspiring this first travel in me. See you soon, everyone. Thank you. Merci.
Katrina, thank you so much for taking the time to present for us today. And I'd also like to thank everyone who joined us today. So if you are interested in information on how you can travel with NatHab, please give us a call at 800-543-8917, or you can send us an email at info@nathab.com. Our adventure specialists are happy to help you out. Join us Monday for our next daily dose of nature. You can check out next week's lineup, including registration links, on our website at nathab.com/webinars. We did record today's presentation, and we will have the replay available on our website soon. With that, I will conclude the webinar. Goodbye, everybody. We'll see you
Bye.
next time.